tragic accident. Like tragic accidents just happen all the time in Carroll County. I'm just saying. It's a very, very unlucky place to live. They dropped the charges because it was accidental. You don't accidentally run over somebody and back up and try to do it again. Let's start from the beginning as investigative reporters, right? So you would ask the questions who, what, where, when, and why. Should be easy, right? Of course it is. Yes, I know, you're innocent until proven guilty, but what good does that do you if you are not alive?
Well, hello, my silky friends. How you doing tonight? I am here, barely, but I've got so much on my mind and so much I wanted to talk about. The more I read, the more I couldn't hold it in. Does that make sense to y'all? Hello, Daniel. Hello, Mythical. Hello, Samantha. Hey, by the way, Samantha, I know you said something about, were you in the storms? Are you in the storms? Somebody is in the storms. I can't remember who it is. Maybe it's Mythical. No, Mythical's waiting for the storms, right? Yeah, so I did a stream a little bit earlier about some damage, and, it's not like in my area, my immediate area, but it's not too far. So, thank you. I am feeling a little bit better. I am upright. I got really sick driving home. That's why I ended the stream. I was like, ugh, I'm about to throw up. But tonight we are going to talk some more about Mica Miller. More specifically, the deconstruction of Mica Miller. Just a heads up, and I'll probably say this again at the end. I do want to really dive into domestic violence, but I'm going to do that as a members only, okay? So we're probably going to do that on Sunday night. I have to work this weekend, but it'll be a little bit later, probably about 7:30. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story then. Tonight is not about me, and I want to hear your thoughts, and anybody who wants to share, you are welcome. Just let me know. But yeah, we're gonna talk about that. So, we're gonna talk about the timeline or the life of Mica Miller. Some interesting things that people are bringing up. All right, as to did she unalive herself? I can't say. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of information coming out, but then the last thing, I want to read to you something that someone posted in a Facebook group. And I want to tell you something. It is, it's really wonderful. It's about Mica getting the last laugh, and I want to share that with you. Okay. So let's start. Let's get started, y'all. Let's get started with some things here. Now, I found this interesting. I know some of you have probably seen some of this, but I wanted to kind of put everything, because I've had so much information in other videos. I wanted to kind of put everything in sort of a timeline. I guess not really, because it goes back and forth. For those of you that do not know, should I play the eulogy, or not the eulogy, should I play the announcement on April, what is today? Was it April 27th? Yes, it was April 27th. Pastor John Paul Miller got up before his congregation, and let me see if I can find that video file real quick. If I can't find it quick, I won't play it. But it just made me think. I really want to play this one. And this was his words to the congregation. Yeah, I think this is it. Let's see.
And after the announcement, I'm going to ask that you leave church quietly and don't talk about the announcement here in the building, please, if you can. So y'all can stand to your feet. Before I make the announcement, I also want to say that my request to you is that you will continue to come to church and serve and give for the next little bit. 'Cause I don't want to have. I'm taking a little bit of a break, and I don't want to have to worry about the church. My break may be a few days, a few weeks. I don't know. I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away, and it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina, and we're gonna have a funeral for her next Sunday here at 3 p.m. And so it's all I can. Yeah, I'm just kind of going on adrenaline right now. So y'all pray for me and my kids and everybody. And she wasn't. Y'all knew that she wasn't well mentally, and that she needed her medicine that was hard to get to her. And so I'm sure there'll be more details to come, but just keep our family in your prayers. And I'm going to let Pastor Randall, my bishop, he can pray. I'll give him a microphone. He'll pray out. And if you have anything you want to share as well, I appreciate it.
Come on, let's pray.
Okay, yeah. So if you are by any chance coming to this channel and you do not know the story of Mica Miller, that is how it started for most of us. We saw this announcement and we were horrified. And so people, as you know, sleuths do on the web sleuths are the best. Y'all are the best. People started looking into John Paul Miller and to Mica Miller. It just seemed not okay, right? So we started digging. And the more we dug, the more disgusting. And let me just tell you, I'm going to give you a trigger warning right here, because some of the things that I'm going to read out may be, some of them are going to be really bad. And I'm going to say as much as I possibly can. Hello, Hiawatha. Good to see you. Canadian Nana, good to see you. Yeah, how can you preach the next day? Good question. Good question. Yeah, this, if you don't know, he had already preached his sermon, acted normal, cracked jokes, the whole 9 yards, was very charismatic, and then got up and made that announcement. So, yeah, there you go. What a piece of crap. All right. Let me put this back on here. Now, I'm going to make this one bigger. Over here to the left, let me just tell you what we're looking at. Over here to the left is Mica's first wedding to her husband, who, John Paul, and you can see him. He's all the way at the top of the stairs on the left. He officiated their wedding. Yeah, he really, really did. After he had groomed her from the time she was 10 years old, she was a member of his church youth group. And, he met her when she was 10 and then started, I guess, maybe more seriously grooming her when she was 15. Now, after this wedding on the left, he was married to a woman named Allison. They had 5 children, and he was the pastor of Solid Rock. But during this time, after Mica married, around in 2015 or so, he had to make this announcement. So he writes a letter to the church. Let me just tell you, it is quite nauseating, but I know you probably can't see it, so I'm going to read it out to you, okay? Dear friends. Yeah. Whatever. It's funny how the last series I preached was on tests, trials, and attacks. I can honestly say that I need to re-listen to my own sermons. I'll say. Though Solid Rock is going through a big trial, there is light at the end of the tunnel. I failed a test. I repented. I am and will for years to come remain faithful in counseling and have more accountability than ever. I sinned and disappointed you. I wish that I could please everyone who remains upset by paying for my sin, but I can't. I cannot atone for what happened. Now, if you don't know what happened, he and Mica they were both married and they were having an affair. She was still pretty young. She was still maybe around 20, 21. I cannot atone for what happened. The consequences of my actions are far more horrific than you could imagine. But I am not going to turn my back on God. God has given me a gift. He has anointed me to speak His word in a way that draws people closer to Jesus. Just because I failed a test doesn't mean that I'm going to turn my back on God and stop using that gift. What? I can't, y'all. I was recently offered a full-time secular job that would allow me to leave the ministry with the shame or embarrassment of what happened in my past. If I took this job, I would have a more peaceful life with no problems that come with ministry, no headaches, no cell phone, and I wouldn't have to stand up and preach God's word while looking in the eyes of people who know of my failure. Although the offer was tempting, and though I will most likely take a part-time job on the side as to take care of my family during this season, God has called me to rebirth Solid Rock Ministries. Okay, because you're so gifted, John, you're so gifted that God needs you. Oh my goodness, you can't turn your back on that. God needs you because He is completely incapable without you, John, apparently in your head. I'm sorry. I'm not reading the letter. Those were my own thoughts. I am asking for your help. If I have sown any seeds in the lives of you and your families for the past 9 years, and if there is a harvest available for me to draw from, now is the season to release that harvest. I am asking you to give me 1 year to begin to earn your trust back and make Solid Rock everything God's called it to be. Starting August 2nd, we will be going to one Sunday morning service at 10:30 until the end of 2015. Anyone who is willing to serve or lead in some capacity, please meet me in the sanctuary on Saturday, August 1st at 10 a.m. for a leadership/servant meeting. As a side note, I am looking at bringing on a retired minister to help me pastor Solid Rock, as well as redeveloping the structure of accountability. Solid Rock will be adding trustees to our ministry. The trustees will consist of successful and experienced pastors from different areas in South Carolina that will oversee the finances of the church, the legal authority of the church, and hold me as the senior pastor accountable for any and all decisions made at Solid Rock. These pastors will be introduced to the congregation over the next 6 months. On a more personal note, Allie and I, that was his wife at the time, are communicating every day as we work through our future, and if we had to do it over again, we would not have involved the church in our personal life. This makes it so difficult on ourselves and our children. It's especially hard to hear from God when there are 400 voices, text, emails, and phone calls telling us what we should do. I thank those of you who have sincerely prayed, loved, forgiven, and remained on God's side through all the gossip meetings, Facebook entries, and gatherings. I am also continuing all the counseling, inner healing, and pastoral counseling I have been receiving for the next 2 years minimum. For all of you who refuse to dream die, a vision become blind, I hope to see you on August 1st. Thank you so much. God bless. Well, isn't that nice, Pastor John? I'm glad God needs you so much. That he would feel that it would be okay for you to be an active sin and still pastor a church, because clearly you are more important to God than anyone else. And clearly you are more important than biblical precedents, I guess, or biblical laws. Yeah. Okay, David Rogers. Give me that old-time religion. Yeah, I'm telling you. It makes me want to barf. Hello, L.A. Wilkes. How you doing? Yeah, this story is crazy. Yeah, so this is how he starts out, all right, in 2015. Now, let me tell you something. By 2017, he and Mica are married. Oh, whoa, okay. So in 2015, the church finds out you're having an affair with Mica. You're trying to work on it with your wife. You've got accountability, right? But yet, that still continues. And the wife and you end up divorcing because of a lot of stuff. But oh, Buckeye, I'm telling you something. They need to rename the church Church of Adultery, Grooming, Abuse, and Unalive. Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you. So let's go on. So now here we are. This is in 2017. On the left, you now see Mica marrying JP. This is their wedding. Oh. According to the website, now again, I'm not condoning. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not condoning what Mica did, but what I'm saying is when you have been groomed since you were 15, you met him at 10. I don't know. I hope he wasn't creepy when she was 10, but I'm thinking probably, okay? But definitely by the time you're 15 and then you grow up in a church, you're staying in a church where everyone is saying this is a godly man, right? Even if you should know better, you don't know. You don't know when you're that age and you're groomed like this. And even though you know what the pastor's doing is against the Bible, everybody in the church is like, oh, this is a wonderful man of God. Like you start doubting yourself, right? So I don't think that he left her alone. This is just my opinion. I think that he never left her alone. And so she ends up marrying him. Okay. So let me tell you, this article that I'm going to be reading, and it's hard. It's a hard read for some of it, okay? It comes from Fitz News. I guess it's Fitz, F-I-T-S, News. All right, so I didn't start at the very beginning, but we're going to start here. According to the website, Mica became more active in the day-to-day activities of the church in 2020, joyfully singing on the praise team and creating all the graphics for her church and for her husband's popular Sunday sermons. From the outside looking in, their marriage was perfect. But according to her friends, things were not as they appeared. Mica's close friends indicated the marriage began deteriorating about 2 years ago, but most of them were unaware of how bad things had gotten until the fall of 2023. Around this time, JP purportedly read and... Oh, hold on. I'm going to have to make this one bigger. Sorry. Not going to see you for a few minutes. He purportedly read an apology letter to church board members explaining that the couple had separated. Okay, so here's his second letter, right? We already read the one from 2015. Oh, let's write another apology letter. What about that? And admitting that he had been exchanging text messages, what? With the daughter of a couple who were members of the church. Are you kidding me? JP is also said to have informed the board that he and Mica had agreed they would see other people. I don't believe that one bit. Not from Mica. I think JP is the one who agreed he should see other people, clearly as he's texting someone. A claim more than a few of the board members questioned. Of course they questioned it because they knew Mica. Several longtime friends of the couple who belonged to the church began feeling uncomfortable with the seemingly strange new messaging and tone of his weekly sermons. As a result, they opted to seek a new church to call home. Well, good for them. When Mica realized her friends no longer belonged to the church, she began opening up to them. According to multiple friends, what the young wife claimed she was experiencing at the hands of her husband was horrific. According to them, Mica was, as court documents supplied by her family attested to, a woman afraid for her life. Mica was a devout Christian. She cherished the faith and the fellowship she found within her church. Friends say she endured years of abuse at the hands of her husband silently. Afraid that if she spoke the truth to those closest to her, it would affect their relationships with God. While those who are not devout followers of Christ may struggle to understand her hesitancy, those who are say Mica was ultimately striving to protect the one thing which brought her the most peace during the time she struggled most, her faith. Now, I 100% understand where Mica is coming from, and I said this in one of the other videos. It's different. If you are not part of a church, if you don't understand the goings-on, you're not going to understand the dilemma that Mica was in, because you have all of these people who are believing this pastor, okay, this man of God, and she not only has to expose him, but she's afraid, as I understand. I've been there. If you expose what's going on, you're going to lose people. People are going to lose their faith in God. And it shouldn't be that way, okay? It should not be that way. But it is that way because people tend to look at the pastor as a godlike figure, right? They equate leadership with holiness, and that is not always true. As a matter of fact, a lot of times it's not true at all, not even close. So I understand her not wanting to expose this because she's afraid that people will have a crisis of faith. And it's horrible, it's sad, but look, I get it. I really, really do. Okay. Friends say Mica had told them her husband, the same husband who regularly preached about the dangers of addiction to P, you know what I'm talking about, was himself addicted to carnal relations. Let's just put it that way. This is hard. Trigger warning, okay? They say he required her to have relations with him 3 to 5 times a day. I mean, if it's consensual, but it shouldn't be a requirement, okay? At night, when she refused to comply, they claim he kept her awake by blaring loud music in her ears and throwing water on her as she drifted off to sleep, a form of torture utilized in interrogation techniques. Oh my gosh. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so y'all can see it. Hold on. When Mica couldn't meet his demands, according to her friends, he allegedly began forcing her to take testosterone shots to increase her drive. What? Testosterone? What? I don't even know how you get that from a doctor for a female. He had to get that for himself or somebody. Yeah, he had to get that, not for a female. They are not going to give a female that, okay? Unless the doctor's a quack, okay? I just don't see it. Yeah, there's a lot to that, but he also allegedly began engaging in other methods of gratification. Methods dehumanized Mica. Several of these methods, which can only be described as humiliating to his reserved wife, allegedly involving, I can't even say that, okay? Can't even say it, but you can read it. also allegedly involved homeless men and toys. While Mica's decision to privately share such awful details of her marriage shocked her friends, they also said in retrospect that it made sense given how he treated her. I mean, when we were there, and of course we were in the inner circle, and we saw a lot and everything, says Alicia Young, a friend of Mica's and former member of the church. I mean, the way he would talk to her in front of people. I mean, he would talk down to her, and the light would just go out of her face and everything. And we didn't know exactly how deep the abuse ran because we only saw what was in front of us. That's a lot. Y'all, that's a lot. My heart goes out to this woman. Mica had been preparing to leave her husband, but given the alleged abuse she had endured and a failed previous attempt in September of 2023, she was carefully documenting evidence for her attorney. Friends say the church included proof. Okay, now listen to this. This is important. Friends say the evidence included proof of misuse of church funds. What have I been saying? Affairs involving JP and other women and other illicit activities. I want to know what all these activities are. I mean, was he going to, the strip bars with church funds? I want to know. Given a recently uncovered incident report filed on March 13th, 2024, with the Myrtle Beach Police Department, which alleged the illegal transfer of funds from the church's Dare to Care missions. Oh my God, what did I say? What did I just say in my last video that talked about those missions? I was saying I would not be at all surprised. That is a very, very easy way to skirt money, okay? It just is. It is. You can hide it. You can transfer. It's the missions. Remember, this is what Mica wanted to do for a school in Africa, in Kenya, I believe. Mike Miller's personal account. Oh, okay. They were transferring the funds from the missions. Of course they did. To Miller's personal account. It is possible she had ample ammunition, but something happened to Mica Miller. But I'm sorry, I don't know why I can't read. I guess it's my my fevered brain. But something happened before Mica Miller could do anything with the information she told friends she had gathered. On February 8th, 2024, her husband had her committed involuntarily to the Waccamaw Center for Mental Health. Okay? Involuntarily committed. Upon her release on February 10th, staff at the facility informed her that her husband had taken her purse and her car keys. When Mica returned to where she had last left her car, it was gone. According to her friends, JP left her at the facility with no identification, no wallet, and no car. So basically, she gets out of the hospital after she's involuntarily detained there. And it looks like, she was only there for 2 days. Okay, so in my opinion, they find out very quickly that she's not out of her mind because you would definitely stay for more than 2 days. So he takes everything and leaves her there. They turn her out. She's got no money, no wallet, no identification, no car. What a piece of crap. In a police report filed a little over a week later, Mica told a responding officer that JP had fraudulently initiated her involuntary hospitalization and stolen her vehicle. Well, at least she reported him to the police. She added that JP had known her since she was 10 years old and groomed her while she worked for him prior to their marriage. John Paul had an entirely different narrative for the officer. Of course he did. According to him, his wife suffered from mental health disorders, which caused her to become reckless and spend large amounts of money. He claimed he had taken possession of the vehicle to ensure she didn't sell it during her most recent episode. He also told the officer they were not legally separated. As the couple was still legally married and the vehicle was considered marital property, the officer found no way to establish that a criminal offense had been committed. Accordingly, no charges were filed. Now, I think if the police had potentially looked more into this at the time and really taken it into consideration, and had the police looked at it at all and seen what he did, it is my opinion that they would have looked into the possibility of DV, domestic violence, right? But no. Okay, so then after that, Mica moves in with a friend, and her father helped her get a new car so she was able to drive herself to work. She got her ID back, but her problems didn't end there. Of course they didn't, because you're married to a monster, dear. A trail of incident reports documented an ongoing campaign of harassment and stalking. And we talked about this in the last video. One of her close friends recalled a haunting conversation like a missed final attempt to escape her marriage. My husband, this is quote, "My husband's going to try to find me," Mica said during the late night call, according to her friend. "He's going to say I unalived myself, telling the whole church, every sermon, every opportunity he gets to tell the church that I have a mental illness." Well, she called that one, didn't she? He's threatened me with a gun before, and he told me I will never leave him. Mica continued, according to her friend, "He is never gonna let me go. There's no way," he said it to me. He said, "There's nowhere you can go that I can't find you." At this point, her heartbroken friend choked up as she recalled their conversation. She said, "I'm scared," the friend recalled. She said, "I'm genuinely scared." "I think I know too much," Mica told her friend, "and that's why he wants to keep me quiet. That's why he wants to shut me up." It all starts making sense, right? What doesn't make sense is the unaliving, and we're going to look at some of that stuff. Okay, so like we talked about before, and I'm going to kind of squeeze this down a little bit. On March 11th, according to, and this is to a TV report, Mica got a flat tire on her Honda Accord not long after leaving Springmaid Pier. As she pulled out of the parking lot, she heard a pop and noticed metal protruding from her tire. It was the second time she had found a razor blade in her tire that week. Y'all, tires, they're expensive. A Myrtle Beach police officer helping her change the tire told her the metal was a tire deflation device that could be purchased online. Again, here was a perfect opportunity, and I'm not saying, look, the police, they have a lot to do, and whatever. But here again was a perfect time for intervention. For if a policeman recognizes this device as something that you can buy online, then it's not like you ran over a nail that was randomly in the parking lot. It's not like you ran over something, popped a tire on the curb, whatever. Okay, if he recognized this deflation device, that would have been a big clue for him to at least say, "Hey, have you called the domestic violence hotline? Have you talked to somebody?" I don't know what their conversation was, but that would have been the perfect time to say, "Hey, I think somebody is very seriously trying to harm you, and you may need some help." As she headed to the Honda dealership to get it repaired, she stopped at a gas station, at which point friends say John Paul pulled into the pump next to her and attempted to speak with her. Mica recalled asking her husband to leave, stating she did not wish to speak with him. Oh, wow, what great timing. Geez, you just happened to be close to where she was when the tire deflated. Wow, what are the odds? While the mechanics were repairing her tire, they found something even more concerning: a tracking device hidden on the vehicle. The Horry County Sheriff's Office responded to the dealership to file a report, and while the officer was there, Mica received a call from an unknown number. It was John Paul. The officer filing the report told JP his wife did not want any further contact with him, and that if he proceeded, then warrants might be written up. But were they? Were they? The pastor acknowledged the warning, but did not appear to heed it. Of course not, because he thinks he's above the law, because he's God's mouthpiece, right? God needs you, John Paul. He's not going to let you get in trouble. He needs you. You're that important. Mica filed another report with police after discovering another tracking device on her car on March 26, 2024. It just keeps going on and on. Now, this talks about what we talked about the last video, that during her involuntary commitment in February, he had gotten all of her logins, her emails, social media, and then on April 8th, now again, this is just a couple of weeks before her passing away, she had to file another incident report. Now, she's filing another incident report. Does John Paul have a warrant? Because he's already been told by the police that if you keep harassing her, you're going to have warrants. But I don't see anything about where he had a warrant. Did that come up? You would have thought when they went to court, when she filed, the last papers, you would have thought that would have been the perfect time for the attorneys or someone to look up what's been going on with him. So if he had an active warrant at that time, they could have picked him up. So I'm going to assume that nobody actually did put a warrant on John Paul. Okay. So on April 8th, he had logged into her Facebook and posted a nude photo. Since the post was anonymous, there was no way to prove JP was the one who posted the photo, although Mica confirmed that he was the only person to whom she had sent this specific photo. This is why. This is why, people. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't have any pictures like that. Don't care who you are. And I would think, this is just a side note, but if John Paul was making her send him, first of all, okay, a pastor's wife, especially someone who they said was very reserved and devout, you wouldn't, even to your husband, you're not going to be sending those kind of photos, okay? Not over, no. And if she knew him well enough to know that he was abusive, I mean, if you send a photo like that, it makes me wonder if he had held that over her head sometimes in church things, like, I want you to back me on this decision, or else, you know what? Some of your photos just might get leaked out to the congregation. I will bet you he said that at some point. I will bet you that he blackmailed her over stuff like that. And why do I say that? Because I know the type. I know the type. All right. So, now, as a response to this second tracker, the police advised her because they were still legally married, it was community property, and no crime had been committed. Which, come on. In view of the harassment and the other policemen, come on. I don't believe that. They were separated, okay? Mica's call, okay, now, she filed for legal separation the next day, and he was served with these divorce papers on April 25th, just 2 days before her death. Her calls for help went unanswered over and over again. On repeated occasion, police officers found no cause for charges, cited civil laws relating to marital property, or indicated there was no way to prove her husband had committed any crimes. No investigations appear to have been conducted, leaving her with no option but to file for separation. I do not believe that there was no option. And if there was no option, you could. Again, I know all of these officers know exactly where the helpline, the DV helpline is. All right. Also, Fitz News, and you can see fitznews.com. They're going to be diving into more of this, retracing her steps. And let me tell you something. There's been a lot of controversy. Okay, let's stop and talk about that for just a second, because now I've been sick. Y'all know I've been out of it for a couple of days, but I have seen so much about the fact that she had a tattoo on her hand. I think it was her right hand. I can't remember. But in the photos of her in the pawn shop, they're saying there was no tattoo. I don't know. As this goes on, we're going to look at some stuff. I don't want to jump on the conspiracy bandwagon, okay? I'm not saying that I think he's innocent, that he had nothing to do with it. I mean, the police say no, so I'm going to, at this point, have to go with that. Do I think that he did? I think there's a very good chance, okay? But the police say, well, we're going to take a look at the Robeson County Police, all right? Just saying. We're going to take a look at their history as well. You're right. For a pastor, he sure is on a lot of police reports. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's go on. Now, this is in 1999. I'm just going to tell you basically what this is. He had gotten in trouble. He had a Class C felony. Actually, I read it out on one of my other videos. How many charges he had? Domestic violence. Like, there was so many. And they were all terrible. And this is before. Like, this is an old record. So in 1999, so this is way, way before he ever marries Mica, he had already lost his right to vote and to purchase a weapon. So I'm just going to tell you what this is right here. This is the pardon application. Because he wanted to be able to listen to him. Listen to his little speech here. I am seeking a pardon to restore my... Hold on, I gotta get my glasses on. To restore my civil liberties in the community that I serve daily as a husband, father, and pastor. And pastor. The right and ability to protect my wife and children, as well as my congregation, is imperative. It's not for me. It's not for me. It's for my wife, my children, my congregation. That's why I need to be able to purchase a gun. 1999. He had already gotten in so much trouble. Could they not see? Could the police not see? Like, did they... Even if there is something to it, was community property, and they couldn't charge him for the tracking device on her phone. I mean, it would be easy to pull up past charges. You're the dang police. You've got him right there. And see all this history of all of these violations for years and years and years, and you couldn't intervene. Were they restored? I don't know. I didn't find that. I kind of think, I don't know. I don't want to say. I don't know. I thought they were, but I could be wrong. So I'm just gonna shut up about this. Now, love this letter. Love this letter. Again, this is interesting. It's not very long. I'm gonna read it to you. It's pretty short. This is a letter, supposedly, from John Paul. Whoops. supposedly from John Paul. Why do I keep losing this? I'm goofy. Just before her death, he writes to her. What? Hey, Mica, I hope you are doing well. I'm ready to be done and move on and heal and find a first lady who won't treat me the way you are. I literally want to puke right now. I really hope you do great things. I was willing to do anything. I even had the amazing desire to have kids since you're not on meds. And I want to apologize for the flowers and fruit. It was already paid for to last until your birthday. Feel free to give it all away. I don't know what he had sent. I sent that to you before I found out all the things that I have recently and found out about you and what you've done. And you disgust me. So please, let's meet soon. Let's meet soon. And be divorced and let this nightmare be over from me. Because it's all about me. I'm enjoying all the Africa missions and Pastor Jumba, and all the pastors' wives are so excited for what we're doing. We expect 120 kids our first semester. I have about 10 to 12 people going this time, including Kristen and Tom Winslow and Becca and Jonathan, etc. Wow. Okay. Is anybody else as nauseated by that letter as I am? It's all about what you're doing to me. I'm going to find a wife that'll treat me better than the way that you are. Oh my God. And I sent you the fruit and flowers before I found out what you've done to me. Me, the cheater. The serial cheater, the domestic violence one, the tracker. Wow, you got some dang nerve, John Paul. You've got some dang nerve. I'm just telling you. I hope to God that no church in this country or the world ever lets you stand in the pulpit again. Ever. Did I say ever? Yeah. Moonlight, that's exactly. Yeah, worthless POS. This is the reason I'm still single. Same, doll, same. That's exactly why I'm still single. Give me 5 minutes with this man. Hey, Moonlight, give us both 5 minutes with this man. Oh, hey, Pugs. Pugs. Over Delphi. Been working in over Delphi. Yeah. I know there's some more docs out for Delphi. I don't know if I'm going to cover them or not. So, yeah. So, this is supposedly the last thing. And, of course, all he's doing is blaming her. But I think it's funny that he wants to meet soon. So, she's already... Okay, here's the thing about the meet soon, which is weird to me. Because she's already filed for divorce, right? They've already served him with papers. Now, you can fight it out in court if you want to go to trial, if you want to go before the judge, whatever, you want to bring all this up. But if you are just, and he says, this is what he says, I just want to be divorced. I want this over with. I want to move on and meet a woman who's going to treat me good. Because clearly you weren't, Mica. And it's all about me, right? If you truly wanted to be divorced and be over it and be done, all you have to do, John, is sign your name to the paper. That's it. Sign your name. Boom. Divorce only has to go and be signed by the judge. So why do you want to meet with her? Because there is literally no reason. There is no reason to meet. Everything can be worked out in the paperwork, even to the division of property. Even if you want to fight about it, you want to go to court, there is literally no reason that anybody has to look at your face again. Your attorneys work it out. So why are you asking her to meet you soon? But soon she wouldn't be alive, would she, John? Yeah, it is. It pretty much is a no troll zone for sure. I try to keep it that way. All right. So, yeah. So we have that. Now, let me bring up some other things. So I know, we all know that according to the timeline, according to the pictures, and y'all, I'm just saying, I didn't think this was going to be a whole nother rabbit hole, and I don't know that it is. I'm going to look at all the rabbit holes, but I'm not going to say I believe them necessarily until I see proof. However, a lot of people are doing a lot of digging, and the fact that they just hit the top of what I had said before, follow the money trail, follow the money. So now we know what I figured, what I said a few days ago. He was dipping into that missions fund. I'm sure he was misappropriating all the church funds, but remember how I told you how easy it is? It's particularly easy to misappropriate funds when they're for missions, because who really knows, right? Unless you have a representative from the church living over there in Kenya who is, 100% ethical and reporting to you and saying, yes, this church, we did receive the $5,000 that you sent us, and this is what we did with it. Unless they are there saying and reporting back to the church, and they're trustworthy, showing you what, people using the stuff that you have provided or the money that you have provided, literally as the pastor, especially as the head pastor, you can say all kind of crap. You can make a fake email from Africa saying, hey, we had part of the building burn. We need $10,000. We need whatever. We need, new math books for these students. It's going to be $1,000. Do you see how easy it is for the pastor to say, hey, I got a call, I got an email, and y'all know, you've watched John Paul, and clearly all of these people, he is like a master manipulator. It's so easy for him to say, hey, we're having trouble. We can't get the school started in Africa because they had a setback, because this happened, Rogue elephants ran through the kitchen. Whatever. Who's going to know? Who's going to be able to validate that if you don't have somebody there? This is why missions, and I'm not saying don't give to missions. I very much support missions, but be very, very picky about who you support and how you support and what kind of accountability they have. So when I saw that, I was like, I saw that Dare to Care missions. I'm like, bingo, that's where he was getting his money, because it's so easy to pull on people's heartstrings for missions. They may not want to give to a new building fund or a new, whatever program you want to start. People may not make a donation for that, but you throw up some pictures and some videos and stories about these people, and you see how, desperate they are for basic needs. Your pocketbook opens. What? Because you have a heart to give. And you see these people and you have compassion. And, it's like cha-ching, cha-ching. Y'all know. If you're in any kind of church, you know. Wow. Sorry. Sorry. But it's the truth. And, what you put my hair, it's so fitting. Wild and crazy. Yes. Why send missionaries over to Africa when it appears there are plenty of sinners sitting in church in South Carolina? Oh, touche. Yeah. And look, I don't have a problem with missions, but I knew when I saw that on their website that John Paul is your source of income. Now let's look into this, because people are saying the first thing people are saying is Mica didn't unalive herself. She didn't unalive herself. She's this was a red rum or somebody was there with her. And I must say right now, all we have is the police report. Until someone can poke holes in it, I'm not saying they can't. People have got the big pokers right now. And there are some interesting things. I can't say that I am going to not believe that. I believe that she 100% was manipulated into it. I do have a big problem with a few things. I do have a big problem with the fact that she seems like she wanted to get on with life. Although, let me do say this as one disclaimer. A lot of times when people have made the decision, okay, they may be depressed, and then they finally make the decision to do that. Sometimes for a week or so, you will see that they will bounce back. They'll be so happy. They'll be confident. Like, they'll make you think that they believe the future is bright and everything. And then that's why no one sees it coming. So just as a word of warning, if you have seen someone who is very, very in that dark place and maybe has attempted or something before, if they have all of a sudden change and everything is bright and rosy and hopeful, that is the time that you need to really reach out and stay with them, okay? Now, that being said, I'm not saying that Mica did it. I'm not saying she didn't. But people did bring up a lot of corruption. Y'all know, I am so... It seems like every case I get involved in, there ends up being a corruption element, huh? Even Karen Reed. I mean, if y'all have not been following the Karen Reed trial, that is like corruption at its finest. And it's the thing of it is, it's the prosecution. It's the prosecution bringing their case now. And then you're seeing all this stuff and you're like, dear God. Some of their stuff is so good. They should be witnessing for the defense. But yeah. But I started looking at, somebody put in a group somewhere. Y'all Google most corrupt police county in North Carolina. And I was like, It comes up. You will find it. It comes up with a Reddit post. From that Reddit post, you can get some articles. And so I'm going to show you some very, very interesting things that I found online. Okay, now, this one, it starts, but hold on to your britches. It starts back in, I think, 2008. But it doesn't end there. Let me make sure y'all can see this. Let me just make it bigger for a second. All right. Now, let me get to where I can read this to you. All right, so this, take a look at him. Ex-sheriff gets prison time for corruption. What? Former Robeson County Sheriff Glenn Maynor pleaded guilty to lying to a grand jury and misusing federal funds. This is on June 19th, 2008. All right, he was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison as part of a 6-year investigation into corruption in the county. He served as sheriff from 1994 until 2004. And then that's when he got busted. He pleaded guilty. Now let's look at, let's go on down here because the operation was called Operation Tarnished Badge. And it led to charges against 22 law enforcement officers. 22, wow. Sounds like your whole police force. I don't know how many you got. More serious charges include kidnapping. Are you kidding me? Kidnapping, money laundering, and burning houses during raids. What the heck? We started with the lowest of the low. Basically, the investigation started with the substance dealers who were telling us they had been robbed or abused in some manner by law enforcement. From those witnesses, we worked all the way up to the sheriff. The corruption in the sheriff's department has been a horrid chapter in the history of Robeson County, I'll say. Ooh. All right, the sentencing marked a long fall from grace from the new sheriff who stressed his importance of honesty. Always doing the right thing. In a 1997 interview. Gosh, this sounds like John Paul, right? Oh, he stressed the importance of honesty and always doing the right thing. He also said, quote, good always outweighs evil. The biggest mistake that we can make in life is to forget where we come from. Wow. Oh, sorry. Mina, hush, baby. U.S. District Judge Terrence Boyle angrily rejected a plea deal last month. So, yeah, he had to do that. Can you? All right. Wow. Whoa. I mean, can y'all get a load of those charges? Kidnapping was the first one. Oh, my God. So now you're saying, all right, we get it. It was a bad time. It was a bad time in history. The sheriff and 22 law enforcement, all dirty. So I thought, well, that was a long time ago. Now, in my experience, a culture of corruption doesn't stop just because you might get rid of the people there, but that culture kind of goes on because there's really so many people involved. However, I decided to look and see what people were complaining about more recently, and I found something else. So let me look at that. This right here. I was like, what? Just when you think. Just when you think it can't get any worse. Well, it's not worse. Maybe it's just a whole nother set of problems. Let me see. Can y'all see that? All right. Let me remove myself from here. And let's take a look at this one, because this is a doozy too. All right, and this is in 2019. Okay, that's just a couple of years ago, right? Drivers passing through a rural stretch of North Carolina might be seeing red in their rearview mirrors this holiday season now that Robeson County Sheriff's deputies have an incentive to pursue green in the form of seized cash. What? Okay, what? Okay. Following a 17-year pause. Okay. So y'all were kind of good there for a while. The county rejoined a federal program on November 21st that has been a moneymaker for years in other jurisdictions. All right, I understand they got to make money, but what? Okay, how we doing this? With the Robeson County Sheriff's Department back on board, every vehicle at the crossroads of Interstate 95 and Interstate 74 will be a potential ATM for police perks. Cha-ching! That's about 50,000 new revenue opportunities per day. What? Per day? The partnership will allow task force members to seize and keep the property they find during traffic stops, even if they never charge the drivers with a crime. Are you kidding me? Federal prosecutors will need to meet only the lower burden of proof that applies in civil matters. The difference is huge when an officer finds cash in your glove box or suitcase, even if the money is for a vehicle purchase, holiday gift, or some other legitimate purpose. So they're just allowed? Wait a second. They're just allowed to look through your car? They can stop your vehicle? All they need is some kind of reason? Oh my gosh. Okay. Program participants must show, let me just read it again, that money is related to a crime by preponderance of evidence, meaning 51% likelihood, rather than the criminal standard of proof. Okay, you don't have to have the criminal standard of proof, beyond a reasonable doubt. And because the cases are civil rather than criminal, listen to this, y'all. Citizens who fight back will have no right to a government-appointed attorney. They must fund their own defenses. Well, how are they going to do that when you just took all their money, sir? Wow. Wow. All right, I'm not going to read the whole article, but you can, let me go back up here to the top if you want to get into all the details. This is from Inside Sources. Man, oh days. Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? So basically, these people, these cops can stop you for whatever reason. They have a reason, of course, to stop you. And then they can seize your cash. You got it in your purse, your glove box, your suitcase, whatever. They find cash. They find stuff. They can seize your cash. And guess what? They don't even have to go by the criminal standard of proof. This is a civil case. If you literally have no money now, you can't have a court attorney appointed to you because it's a civil case. You are just fresh out of luck. And this is, okay, let me tell you, and I've told this story before. Yes, it is a banana republic. Let me tell you this story, and it's going to be short, but hypothetically, all right, this could happen to anybody. Now, I was with a friend of mine. There is a there's a 4-lane highway, okay, with a median. I'm going down south. The police are coming north. There is a big ditch. When I say it's a divided highway, there's like a good little distance in between. I'm going this way. Me and a friend of mine were going to the church to help clean. We had gotten a new building and they were painting, cleaning, all that kind of stuff. It was in the evening. And a police car is coming up the other side. And I mean, we're not speeding or anything. We're actually almost there. And the police, all of a sudden, turn around, like they go, in one of those little breaks in the median. They pull around, and they start following me, who, again, I'm not doing anything wrong. And I just make it into the church parking lot, because it was on the highway at that time. And they're pulling on their blue lights and everything else. And they are really, really obnoxious, all right? Very arrogant, and I'm like, why are you pulling us over? And they were so belligerent. I wouldn't give a reason. And then they demand to just look at the car. I was driving a red Jeep at the time, and they were just demanding to look in my Jeep and check it all out. Well, okay, first of all, I was taken aback because I knew I didn't have anything in the car. I wasn't worried about it. It's like I wasn't doing anything wrong. And I'm like, look, so the people in the church that were going to work, to try to get the building ready, they're all out, the blue lights. We're pulled over. The police are looking through the vehicle. This was humiliating. Well, after trying to talk in some reason into the cops, and they were just hateful and wouldn't give me any reason. They never said any reason for, a search or whatever. I got quite irritable myself, okay? And I thought, you know what? Whatever you're doing, you're just trying to make it. If I'm going to go to jail, I'm thinking, if I'm going to go to jail, I'm going to go to jail with giving you every last piece of my mind. And I did. I got into it with a cop. Now, of course, never hit, never did anything, but verbally, we got into an altercation. And I demanded to know, because they searched our vehicle. There was nothing in there. Nothing. So I demanded to know why he pulled me over to start with. I said, because this isn't legal. You just can't pull people over for no reason. We were minding our own business, going down this side of the highway, and you're coming up. All of a sudden, you're behind me. You tell me what legal right you had to pull me over to start with. And he says, your tag is expired. I said, you saw that? Coming up the other side of a 4-lane, when I'm going south and you're going north, you could see my tag? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I could. That is the answer that he gave me. Now, of course, I don't even know if he gave me a ticket or a warning for the tag, because at that point, I was going to go to court. I was absolutely going to hire an attorney and go to court. Because he was harassing us, and that was bogus. But see, if you're in a situation like this in Robeson County, if this still applies, and this is in 2019, hopefully they repealed it. But you see the problem? They can stop you for anything. Oh, yeah. So what if he had searched my vehicle and found, my rent money? Man, this is a big problem. And y'all know I love law enforcement. I work with law enforcement. I love them. But when you're wrong, you're wrong. And I don't care if you're a pastor or a policeman, the president, or whatever. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And moral and immoral. Morality. Integrity. It's important. Apparently not to anybody else. But there you go. So we're looking at this kind of county. This is their history. So now, looking at that, which the other stuff came from North Carolina. Of course, people are saying there's a lot of corruption there too. There's a lot of questions. A lot of things don't add up. And as more stuff comes out, I will look at it. Okay? I'm going to keep an open mind. At this point, I'm going to say we're going with the fact that she unalived herself. Now, do I think that she did it because, first of all, it's such a problem. Let's not even talk about corruption. Let's not even talk about the pictures, the anything. If Mica was so concerned with getting a divorce and from John Paul because of hurting the church, of people losing faith, and I get it. We talked about that. I understand exactly why she hesitated, why she took the abuse. She didn't want to cause a crisis of faith. So if that was so important to her then, you tell me how unaliving yourself is not going to cause a crisis of faith in people. And if she was that concerned about it then, why would she turn around and do it? That is my biggest question. Not even the logistics. It's the way that people think as Christians, okay? And I know this. I've grown up in church forever. It don't math, okay? It doesn't math. I feel like, she either had no hope, or maybe he was going to expose her or even blackmail her even worse. Maybe she felt so helpless. If he had already put up that one picture, what else was he planning to do? I think that she absolutely knew, had all the dirt on him. And because even if they divorced and she got nothing, whatever, it was a rough divorce and whatever, it's not even that. He'd been through this before. The fact that he could actually wind up in jail for money laundering, if he's taking money from the church missions and other places in the church, that's jail time, buddy. That's jail time. So I think that's what he was the most afraid of. So was he bringing the big guns and he was going to really blackmail her with stuff and make her look bad? Maybe she just gave up. I don't know. But I wanted to look at all of that. Hey Pam, I am feeling a little bit better. I'm losing my voice. Yes, she did take the abuse because that's what she was groomed to do. Um, Pam, that's what they're saying. They have a big long thing. Yeah, yeah, Pug. Not all cops are like cop facts. Sadly, yeah, absolutely. See, that's why I'm not anti-cop. You know, Cop Facts is an amazing, amazing person. Love some Cop Facts. Uh, but yeah, let me see what y'all are saying up in here. Yeah, and you know, which you're talking about, Buckeye, the whole Pakistan thing. Yeah, when we read some of that, I don't think his daddy go back in Pakistan. Yes, he is wanted. He's a criminal. He's a criminal too. Like there's, as we look at the pattern throughout Wayne Miller's whole life, you can see where JP learned it. And I have to say that he probably, unfortunately, suffered abuse at his dad's hands. That's my guess. No proof of that. But anyway, I am about. Could it be the medicine she was taking? Um, he said that she couldn't been that she couldn't get it. My problem with that, and I'm not saying it's awesome, but he said she was taking lithium. Lithium is not a normal treatment anymore. Back in the day, lithium was a standard treatment. There are so many downsides to lithium that they literally use it when nothing else will work because of allergies or whatever other comorbidities or stuff that people have. They can take things like coat, other stuff. There's stuff to take for bipolar disorder. Depakote is probably one of the most standard things that you take. So lithium, it's odd to me if she was on lithium. Not saying it's impossible. I have known some people, but it's rare. And with lithium, you do have to have blood tests, just like with Depakote. Even though it's much safer, you still have to have blood draws very frequently because if your Depakote level gets to an unhealthy, if he's processing it different and your levels are high, yeah, you can have a mental breakdown. Is it possible? Yes. Hey, Yoli Yo. Uh, you've been listening to Toxic Relationship for sure. Yes, yes. Um, is a capsule or a tablet? Good question. I haven't given lithium. I want to say a capsule. But I guess it depends on the manufacturer, okay? I believe the last time I ever gave lithium, it was a capsule. But it's been a long time, okay? Like I said, and I have a lot of people, a lot of my patients are bipolar, and they do take medicine for bipolar disorder. I don't have not a one on lithium. So there you go. All right. Mythical. The fact that he's emphasizing her supposedly, mental health to church and anyone else is very sus. Yeah, of course. I actually read something today that, let me find this. I actually read something today that said that he was on lithium at some point. Let me find, I knew I'd lose it. Let me find this one thing I wanted to read to you. Oh, there's a couple of things. I love this one. Somebody needs to make a meme. It's like Chris Watts, the most hated man in America. JP, hold my beer. It's not funny, but it is funny. All right. Why? Hold on. had it saved on here. I really want to find this for you because it is one of the, there it is. It's one of the best things that I've seen an answer. It's a little bit long, and I don't have it up here. I just want you to listen to this Facebook post. This is in one of the Facebook groups by Erin Renee. You see, the one thing you don't realize, JP, because I know you're in here watching this group, is that God and Mica got the last laugh, so to speak. Mica now knows a freedom and happiness that she has never known or felt before. All she did was shed her vessel. Her soul is free. She's free to do anything she wants now, go anywhere she wants, help all of her loved ones and God's children all at once. She's everywhere now, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. You have no control over her now. You have no control over anything now. How's it feel, knowing she outsmarted you and took all your power, JP? She not only freed herself, but also managed to take you down too. You're going to go down in flames, huge, hot, burning flames. You're going to lose everything in the process. You're going to prison, maybe, not specifically for her death, but you are going. She made sure to leave massive amounts of evidence that proves you are a lying, conniving, narcissistic, manipulating criminal. Think tax fraud, embezzlement, money laundering, corruption. I could go on, but I'm pretty sure you've painted a good picture of what your future holds for you, you demented SOB. Sorry. She took all the power you thought you had with her. She's honestly pretty badass in the way she took you down at the same time. She's way more intelligent than you ever thought her to be. Way more intelligent than you. So how's it feel, knowing that? She's as free as a soul can possibly be now, and yours is going to be locked up, not only in this life, but for eternity. No matter who pulled that trigger, this is a win, so to speak, for her, and a massive loss for you. The second that trigger was pulled, you basically died in a sense. Let that sink in. God and Mica got the last word. Good always wins in the end. I would have thought you knew that. Wow. This was pure poetry. Pure poetry. Wow. I love that. I love it. And that is the beautiful thing, okay? And even if she did this, even of her own volition, that right there says the world, doesn't it? She's free. And I guarantee you, he's going to be right up there with Chris Watts, with one of the most hated men in America. And definitely, because so many people have read my... People aren't going to let this go, and they shouldn't. Y'all sleuthers keep sleuthing. Find out all of the dirty laundry, all of the things that he did. Because I'm going to tell you something, JP. Jail. Ooh, prison. Oh, my. You're going to learn. Not from the jailers, necessarily. I mean, I know it happens sometimes. You're going to learn from your co-inhabitants. You're going to find out what abuse is, all right? And I don't feel sorry for you, JP, because you have abused woman after woman after woman, okay? So anyway, that's all I have to say for tonight. Like I said, I think I worked a couple nights. I don't even know what day it is. I don't know if I'm going to go live tomorrow or not. Just depends on if anything happens. But let me tell you, I will do a later members only on Sunday night, and we are going to talk. Just going to be a heart-to-heart talk. We're going to talk about domestic violence. If you have a story that you want to share, either it's something that you've overcome, or a friend, a loved one, something, we're just going to talk about it. And we're just going to make sure everybody is empowered so that none of this happens to you lovely people. All right? Whew, I'm losing my voice. But I hope that you all have a wonderful, I think this is Thursday. And I will see you maybe tomorrow. In the meantime, stay safe. Whatever you do, stay silky. Love y'all to pieces.